Let's open the book on this. Today in Honolulu, Hawaii, we're diving into a persistent housing crisis that's affecting almost everyone, from first-time buyers to long-time renters. I'm Leah.
And I'm Garrett. Welcome to Laid Back Local, the news of the day with Leah and Garrett, reporting from Honolulu, Hawaii. All right, let's set the stage for this one. First up, Hawaii faces ongoing housing crisis despite small gains in affordability. UHERO, that's the University of Hawaii Economic Research Organization, just dropped its 2026 Hawaii Housing Factbook. The headline is mixed. Affordability ticked up a little thanks to some income growth and slightly lower mortgage rates, but the overall picture is still really tough. Statewide home prices leveled off in 2025 after years of big jumps, but the median single-family price still hit about $950,000. That's wild. And even where condo prices fell around 2%, rising ownership costs like homeowners association fees and property insurance have chipped away at any progress. UHERO points to two big drivers. One, climate risk. We just had those severe Kona low storms in March and April, causing over $1 billion in damage. And updated FEMA flood maps, those are the federal flood risk maps used by insurers and lenders, are set to take effect in June. That can push premiums up or change what's required to even close a mortgage. Two, carrying costs. Hawaii's property insurance premiums rose about 13% in 2024, and insurers here are pricing risk differently than the national trend because of local climate modeling. Plus HOA fees. Those are the monthly homeowner association dues for building maintenance, insurance, and reserves. They've climbed a lot. UHERO notes we've got the second highest median monthly HOA fee in the nation. That's a budget burden right there. One more piece the report flags is vacation rentals. When homes shift to short-term rentals, fewer units are available for long-term residents, which tightens the market and props up prices.
That's close to the heart of it, the part that lands hard for families. The report says the cost of owning a median-priced single-family home now requires more than 180% of area median income. Quick definition: area median income is the midpoint of local household earnings. If you need 180% of that to buy, most families are priced out. And the HOA piece really jumped out at me. Wow, that's so wild. For folks eyeing a condo as the more affordable path, those monthly fees can tip the math the wrong way, even if the sticker price on the unit looks better this year. Why are those HOA fees climbing so much right now? Is it mostly insurance, or are buildings playing catch-up on maintenance too?
Yeah, that checks out as a mix. Insurance is a big chunk, especially with climate risk baked into policies. Then you've got reserve requirements and deferred maintenance. Older buildings need roof and elevator work, concrete spalling fixes, seawall or drainage updates, and boards are under pressure to bulk up reserves after recent high-profile failures nationally. All that rolls into HOA budgets. So even if mortgage rates ease a bit, the monthly nut still goes up. Not gonna lie, it's a tough needle to thread.
Okay, let's move on. Next up, Hawaii unemployment drops, now second lowest in the U.S. The state's jobless rate held at 2.4% in March, just behind South Dakota at 2.3%. On paper, that's impressive. But here's the context. Our labor force has been shrinking for 4 straight months, driven by retirements and out-migration. Quick explainer. Labor force participation rate is the share of adults working or actively looking. Ours is on the low side, given our older population. That can make the unemployment rate look better because fewer people are counted as looking. Also, non-farm payrolls dipped, especially in construction, partly tied to those recent storms disrupting projects.
That's interesting. On one hand, 2.4% signals employers are still hiring and folks who want work can find it. On the other hand, if participation stays low, it limits growth and makes staffing tough for local businesses. Why does that matter? With fewer people in the pool, wages might rise, which is great for workers, but employers struggle to fill roles, and service quality or hours can take a hit. And if construction is pausing because of weather damage and permitting delays, that can ripple through the housing pipeline we just talked about. Still, if we manage storms better and tourism stays steady, we could see the rate approach that 2% low, like back in 2017, without overheating the economy. That's a curveball to watch. Let's switch it up. Military members' Red Hill fuel crisis case dismissed under FARA's doctrine. Here's the nutshell. A federal judge dismissed the case brought by active duty service members over the 2021 Red Hill fuel spills. The FARA's doctrine, a Supreme Court rule from the 1950s, bars service members from suing the government for injuries that arise out of or are in the course of military service. The spills in May and November 2021 contaminated water for about 93,000 people on Oahu. Civilian family members have been awarded damages in some cases, but active duty claims were blocked here under FARA's. Attorneys say they'll appeal to the Supreme Court. If that's accepted, it could shape new boundaries for military rights in cases involving housing and utilities on base.
This one really resonates with me. The human impact from Red Hill was so real for families, and it feels hard to square that civilians could recover damages while the service members living right next door could not. For anyone hearing FARA's for the first time, it's a legal shield for the government when the injury is tied to service, even off the battlefield. The fairness debate is intense because people ask whether water, housing, and medical care should fall in that bucket. If the Supreme Court takes it up, that could be a watershed moment for how we treat service-connected harms outside combat. Why does FARA's still hold so much weight after all these years, especially when the lines between on-duty life and home life on base can blur so much?
Courts have stuck with FARA's partly to prevent a flood of lawsuits that could second-guess military decisions and operations. The idea is to preserve the chain of command. But when the harm looks like basic housing or utilities, the doctrine can feel overbroad. That's why this case matters. It spotlights those gray areas. We'll keep an eye on any appeal filings in the weeks ahead.
All right, on to the next. Hawaii's solar industry fights to preserve crucial tax credit amid legislative threats. The Hawaii Solar Energy Association, that's the main trade group for rooftop solar companies here, rallied outside the Capitol over Senate Bill 3125. The bill would phase out state income tax credits for solar, cap total credits at $40 million a year from 2027 to 2030, and add income limits. Industry leaders say the uncertainty alone could freeze the market because homeowners and installers need to know what incentives they qualify for before they sign contracts. They also warn that with global oil prices spiking, cutting solar support could mean higher electric bills over time. Why push this now? Lawmakers say it helps preserve broader state income tax cuts for most taxpayers, especially with some federal funds falling off. But the solar folks argue the trade-off is short-sighted, since rooftop systems cut grid demand and can harden neighborhoods against outages. And heads up, the bill could retroactively apply income restrictions to the start of 2026, which is, a big deal for anyone who already started a project counting on the old rules.
I'm kind of with the installers on the certainty point. Retroactive, meaning rules changed after you acted in good faith, is tough for families planning their budgets. Renewable incentives have been a backbone of Hawaii's clean energy push, and cutting them sharply could slow adoption right when storage and smart inverters are getting better. If the goal is to balance the budget, maybe a gradual ramp with clear timelines keeps the market steady. That's something to chew on, huh? Last up, Honolulu advances plans for transit-oriented development on Kapolei agricultural lands. The Planning Commission approved land use measures tied to the East Kapolei Neighborhood Transit-Oriented Development Plan. Quick definition: transit-oriented development, or TOD, clusters housing, shops, and jobs within walking distance of rail stations to boost ridership and cut car trips. These actions include a boundary amendment and zoning changes that align unused agricultural parcels with urban districts near West Oahu rail stops. The proposal now heads to the City Council for final approval. Numbers-wise, the TOD plan area spans about 1,381 acres, with potential for roughly 27,000 dwelling units, alongside mixed-use projects. The idea is to trade higher building heights and density for walkability, transit access, and community amenities. If done right, that can lower household transportation costs and give more options to live near work or school. There was a public hearing in April, and final Planning Commission approvals followed in May, so it's moving.
That's a story worth telling. 27,000 possible homes is a big swing at our housing shortage. If the City Council signs off, this could reshape West Oahu over the next decade. I get the concerns about building on former agricultural land, but these are largely unused parcels right next to rail, and TOD is designed to reduce traffic and car dependence. Real talk, if we're serious about affordability and climate goals, concentrating growth by stations is one of the cleaner paths to get there.
That's Laid Back Local, the news of the day with Leah and Garrett from Honolulu. Thanks for tuning in. Stay curious and take care out there.
Have a great day, and join us again tomorrow for more updates.